CYBERSEC 2023台湾资安大会现在正式开始。各位女士、各位先生，大家好，大家早安，欢迎莅临2023台湾资安大会。Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to CYBERSEC 2023. 在我们今天活动一开始，首先让我们欢迎台湾资安大会大会主席 IT Home 总编辑吴奇勋吴总编辑上台为本次大会揭开序幕。Now, please welcome the chairman of CYBERSEC, the chief editor of IT Home, Mr. Martin Wu. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. 大家好，很高兴我们又见面了啊，而且今年不用戴口罩了啊。那过去这3年哦，其实托台湾的福，CYBERSEC 台湾资安大会没有中断过。每一年，像大家这样那么关心治安的好朋友，我们都可以约在这里来见面、来交流，而且大家都可以有一个很好的飨宴、很好的回忆，把这些经验带回去。也因为这样，其实我们还曾经一度成为全世界最大的治安会议，因为只有我们有办法办实体会议，所以真的是非常的谢谢大家。那这证明了大概或许就是我们3年前大会主题所说的韧性决胜。韧性决胜，台湾的韧性真的是不容小觑。那大家在各位的各自的角色、各自的岗位上所做的努力，就促成了今天的成果。所以呢，我必须要献给大家一个最大的掌声，谢谢各位，谢谢。今年呢，国际交流开始恢复了常态，那我们终于可以再邀请国际的治安专家来台湾。过去呢，我们邀请过像 Michael Hipman、Bruce Schneier。那当这些大师级的人物站上台湾治安的舞台的时候，说实在的，很令人感动。那今年我们也非常高兴，可以邀请到了大师级的人物。今天，在座跟大家一起的有美国前国土安全部长 Janet Napolitano， 还有 Google 的威胁分析小组资深总监 Sean Huntley。So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome former U.S. Secretary, the Honorable Janet Napolitano. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming. It's okay. Thank you later. Please go your seat, sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry, thank you. Thank you for joining with us. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of big applause for them. Thank you. 那么此外其实还有10多个国家的治安专家来到台湾远道而来。那驻台的代表包括像是美国 AIT、英国、荷兰、卢森堡、波兰 都进来跟我们共襄盛举，非常的谢谢。那最后呢，我要特别再感谢蔡总统，连续第5年莅临台湾资安大会，亲自带给大家最大的鼓励。我们是不是再给蔡总统一个最大的掌声？谢谢。那么今天与会的部长呢，还有总统府的林秘书长、张副秘书长、国安会的顾秘书长、行政院正副院长、国科会吴主委、经济部的王部长、数位发展部唐部长，还有国安会李资伟，有李秘书长刚刚提过，不好意思。对，谢谢大家。那明天呢，赖副总统也会莅临大会。所以这应该是史上政府支持治安最盛大一次的阵容。那我觉得政府支持治安真的是不遗余力啦。那我们是不是给部会首长以及所有为治安努力的政府的公务同仁一个热烈的掌声？谢谢大家。那么最后，要在这里跟大家预告，明年就是 CYBERSEC 台湾治安大会成立的第10年。今年呢，我们的报名人数已经达到了18000人，明年可以预期一定会超过2万人的一个新的纪录。不过更重要的是，明年呢，整个展览会扩大到1楼，也就是说1楼跟4楼都会是台湾治安展，7楼呢就是最大的治安会议。那么我们非常难得可以达到说，明年呢将会是一个南港展览馆2馆整栋都在谈治安，我觉得这是一个非常了不起的里程碑，我们非常感谢，谢谢大家一起促成这样子让我们快达成这个里程碑。我想这也是台湾的骄傲，所以我在此就不再多说了，在此特别请大家跟我一起期待明年的2024第10届 CYBERSEC 台湾治安大会。谢谢，谢谢。
非常谢谢吴总编辑 ，Thank you, Mr. Martin Wu。各位贵宾，我们今天也非常荣幸的邀请到了美国在台协会代理处长柯杰明先生莅临现场。接下来，请大家欢迎柯杰明代理处长上台致辞。Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome our honorable guest, Mr. Jeremy Crawford, the acting director of the American Institute in Taiwan's Taipei office, to give us his remarks. Welcome.
President Tsai, distinguished ministers, Secretary Napolitano, business leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. 早安，大家好。
好。
It is my honor this morning to help kick off the 2023 CYBERSEC trade show. Once again, AIT is pleased to join you all in the largest cybersecurity trade event in Taiwan to underscore our shared commitment to cybersecurity. I would like to start by thanking our partners across Taiwan and the team at IT Home for organizing this event and bringing together key players from both the public and private sectors. Cybersecurity is a shared challenge that requires a whole-of-society approach, and we appreciate both the business community and the public sector's consistent support of shared U.S.-Taiwan initiatives. Since this group gathered last September, a lot has happened in the world of cyber. We congratulate Taiwan's Ministry of Digital Affairs for all the work they've undertaken to consolidate the critical cybersecurity functions across Taiwan's public sector. In fact, our partners at the Ministry of Digital Affairs just returned from the RSA conference in San Francisco, where they participated in a week-long program with U.S. government and private sector officials. In the United States, the Department of State's new Cybersecurity and Digital Policy Bureau is also working to enhance our international partnerships across the globe. Despite these public sector efforts, it's no secret that prominent companies in both the United States and Taiwan have been and continue to be the victims of cyber hacks, data breaches, and ransomware attacks. At the same time, the tactics of these criminals and non-state actors are constantly evolving. That is why it is so critical that we work together as partners to learn from one another and to bolster our critical network security. Cybersecurity is national security, and the Biden-Harris administration is taking key measures to prioritize and elevate cybersecurity within the United States and with our like-minded partners. In March this year, the administration launched the 2023 National Cybersecurity Strategy. As the strategy states, in this decisive decade, the United States will reimagine cyberspace as a tool to achieve our goals in a way that reflects our values: economic security and prosperity, respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms, trust in our democracy and democratic institutions, and an equitable and diverse society. To reach these goals, the strategy calls on us to realign incentives to favor long-term investments by striking a careful balance between defending ourselves against urgent threats today, while strategically planning for and investing in a resilient future. The United States will work with our allies and partners to counter threats to our digital ecosystem through joint preparedness, response, and cost imposition. Here in Taiwan, Director Audkirk and I have made cybersecurity a key focus of AIT's engagement with both the public and private sectors. I'm proud of the work that we've done together so far, whether through the Global Cooperation and Training Framework, workshops that combat cybercrime, through participation in Taiwan's biannual cyber offensive and defensive exercise, or through the U.S.-Taiwan technology trade and investment collaboration that we jointly created. The United States will continue to work with like-minded partners like Taiwan to counter threats and ensure secure, reliable, and trustworthy global supply chains. The companies in this audience today are invaluable contributors to this effort, and we look forward to years of continued partnership. On behalf of the American Institute in Taiwan, I wish all of you a successful CyberCom 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comfort, for your excellent speech. Thank you. 各位贵宾，接下来呢，本次大会也很荣幸的邀请到了美国前国土安全部长暨美国加州大学伯克莱分校政治安全中心的创办人来台。Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome the former U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, the founder of the Berkeley Center for Security in Politics, the Honorable Jenna Napolitano, to give us her remarks. Welcome.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure to be here, Madam President, distinguished ministers, business leaders, cybersecurity experts.
Excuse me, please use microphone. Thank you so much. Microphone. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to get this right. Madam President, distinguished ministers, business leaders, cybersecurity experts, and members of the cybersecurity community writ large, greetings. It is such a pleasure to be here with you in Taipei for CyberSec. I would like to especially thank the Taipei Economic and Cultural Representative Office in the United States for this invitation, and I would similarly like to thank the conference organizers for your warm welcome and hospitality. This is actually my first visit to Taiwan, and I'm very much looking forward to engaging with my counterparts here and also into soaking in the rich cultural history of Taipei and all this amazing city has to offer. My name is Janet Napolitano. I'm currently a resident of Berkeley, California, commonly considered the epicenter of free speech in the United States and home of America's finest public research university, the University of California at Berkeley. Currently, I'm a professor, faculty director, and founder of the Berkeley Center for Security in Politics. My center is focused on examining the nexus between security and politics in the United States and bringing together leading practitioners and best-in-class researchers to solve some of the most pressing challenges facing my country today. Our key areas of focus and research are in strengthening democratic institutions, thinking about issues related to technology design, and cybersecurity to ensure thought and deliberation goes into the development of new and emerging tools, and finally, examining the security issues that arise out of climate change, such as its effect on extreme weather patterns, food, and water security. In addition to addressing you today, I'm eager to explore opportunities for collaborations during my visit that may be established between UC Berkeley and Taiwan academic and research institutions that are of shared interest. I should also say that there are already robust and enduring ties between Taiwan and Berkeley. Here in Taiwan, we have 1,323 UC Berkeley alumni. Currently, we have 279 students from Taiwan enrolled at UC Berkeley, an increase of over 60% in the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, Berkeley has hosted 45 visiting student researchers, 59 visiting scholars, and 48 postdocs from Taiwan. UC Berkeley also has an impressive student exchange program with partnerships with National Taiwan University for summer, fall, spring, and year-long study abroad programs. We also have the Taiwan Berkeley Fellowship, a partnership with the Taiwan Ministry of Education to support Taiwanese students of outstanding talent in their pursuit of doctoral studies at UC Berkeley. And furthermore, the U.S.-Taiwan Next Generation Working Group, an in-depth training program for scholars and policymakers with an interest in U.S.-Taiwan relations who show promise as future experts on foreign affairs in relation to Taiwan. Berkeley and Taiwan also work closely together on industry-sponsored research and innovation and entrepreneurship with partners like the Industrial Technology Research Institute and the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, each with over 15 research projects in partnership with Berkeley to date. Another important Berkeley research partnership is the Berkeley Taiwan Health Innovation Accelerator. This is a partnership between Berkeley School of Public Health, UC Berkeley Business-Based Business Accelerator, Skydeck, and the Ministry of Science and Technology and the National Council of Taiwan. The program connects representatives from Taiwanese medical technology startups with Bay Area health system leaders, pharmaceutical representatives, experts in regulatory and reimbursement strategies, and life science investors. The program provides mentorship and coaching and helps Taiwan startups expand their impact by connecting with Berkeley and Silicon Valley leaders. This is a perfect example of how we can help each other succeed and make a difference in an important shared industry. So that's a lot I've rattled through, but the short version of it is that the Berkeley-Taiwan friendship and partnership is alive and well, and we are thrilled to broadcast it to the world or to anyone who may be watching or wondering. We are indeed close partners, and my visit this week is meant both to underscore the strength of our relationship and to find concrete and tangible ways to further grow it. Now, prior to founding the Center on Security and Politics, I spent 7 years as president of the University of California System, featuring 10 top-of-line research institutions, including UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego, UC Davis, to name but a few. I also served as the 3rd Secretary of Homeland Security in the administration of President Barack Obama for 5 years. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is a sprawling enterprise of more than 250,000 employees and another roughly 150,000 contractors. When I was at its helm, it had a budget of around $60 billion and spanned the globe with offices and operations in more than 120 countries and areas. DHS is an all-hazards organization built to protect the United States against all threats to the homeland, whether by human beings, acts of God, in cyberspace, and across all critical infrastructure sectors. DHS runs and protects all U.S. ports of entry, land, sea, and air, as well as the border between our ports of entry. It patrols the littoral waterways of the country, protects the President of the United States and visiting international heads of state, while overseeing border security, immigration enforcement, and aviation security. It also facilitates lawful travel and trade, welcomes immigrants and new Americans to our country, collects vital revenue for the U.S. through the U.S. Customs Service, and manages disaster preparedness, response, and recovery through the Federal Emergency Management Agency known as FEMA. The Department of Homeland Security is the youngest and the third largest department in the United States government. It was formed in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks of 9/11 out of the belief that our government would have been better prepared to connect the dots and prevent the attack if disparate elements of the government were collected under one roof. Now, when the average person thinks about Homeland Security, or outside the U.S., they're commonly known as interior ministries, they don't immediately think international. They're Homeland Security and interior ministries, after all. But in reality, no national government can operate best practice domestic security operations without being international and working closely with international partners. So much of what protecting a homeland or the interior of a country is all about begins abroad in partnership with other interior ministries, allies, friends, and partners. This is true for the United States, and it is true for any public official welcome to deliver to their people the highest level of freedom, safety, and security. This is precisely why DHS has an international presence. It is why we must partner with friends and allies for its own protection, and it is why, in a quickly evolving world, we must, to quote the motto of the U.S. Coast Guard, Semper Paratus, be always prepared. And this most certainly is the case as it relates to cybersecurity, the topic we are all here to talk about today. Let there be no doubt that the world is pivoting toward Asia generally and from a cybersecurity perspective as well. As regional powers grow into global ones, as new technology, new innovation, and new discovery emerges in Asian markets, and as our societies, East, West, and in the middle, grow closer and closer through evolving forms of communication, like search and social media, new and more pernicious security vulnerabilities are also arising. Now, some of these threats are unique to domestic environments, such as rising gun violence in the United States. Others are uniquely international in nature, like what we are seeing with Russia's attack on Ukraine. But nothing is more international and more ubiquitous than risks we face in the cyber arena. From nation-state actors and criminal organizations to basement researchers and petty profiteers, cyber incursions are seemingly inevitable, recurrent, and a part of daily existence in today's environment. And what I want to focus on is not per se the threat of cyber attack, but instead the importance of mitigating vulnerability to cyber risks. In the United States, we have focused broadly on the resilience of our nation to all hazards. That's one of the essential functions of the Department of Homeland Security. And building a nationwide unity of effort to become better prepared to respond and recover from harms of all kinds is a key focus and priority for U.S. national security. This broader effort to muster resiliency is acutely seen in the cybersecurity arena. In fact, subsequent to my time at DHS, Congress created an entire new agency within the department known as CISA to focus on cyber and critical infrastructure resiliency within U.S. civilian networks. And cyber resiliency is all about reducing known and unknown vulnerabilities, testing, probing, exercising, and doing it all over again and again and again. Look, we could talk about threats all day, every day, and in cyber they exist everywhere, without border, without divide, and without proper international law to govern standards in the sector. We can jump up and down and tell a threat actor to stop its bad behavior. We can tell it not to act in a threatening manner. We can tell it that it must abide by international or domestic norms. But in reality, a threat actor is going to do whatever it decides to do, period. We cannot necessarily control the behavior of an adversary, a criminal, a nation, or any combination of the three. We also have no practical way to put a glass dome over a country, a community, city, state, company, or entity, and imperviously protect it from cyber threats as much as we would like to. Nor currently have we developed any actionable theory of cyber deterrence, though important work is being done in this area. If we've learned anything about cyber in the past 10 to 15 years, it is that no matter how strong an organizational defense may be, there may be an adversary who can break through them. So what do you do when you cannot control or deter an opponent, adversary, or an antagonist? What do you do when you know no matter what you do, there'll be some way for an adversary to break a security perimeter? You manage what you can control instead. Look, we don't control the weather. Tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, droughts, floods, and fires all occur. Unfortunately, too often these days, with the extreme change in climate across the globe, I might add. And while we really cannot prevent these weather events from occurring, we make it through them by being prepared, by advanced deploying of emergency management capacity, by informing the public about the risks, and by responding efficiently and quickly when they pass. We make it through by managing the things we can control. And this is really the same model we must follow in cyber. We know we cannot suppress every threat, so instead we need to advance proper mitigation tools. We need to reduce attack vectors to the best of our abilities up front. We need to educate the public, the private sector, and any vulnerable entities about preparedness and resilience. And we need the ability to recover efficiently from attack. I know this sounds like oversimplification of complex issues to suggest soundness of mitigation and an increase in resilience are the pathways to success in the cyber area. But sometimes the simplest remedies are the soundest courses of action in complex landscapes. There's precedent for this approach. When I was Secretary of Homeland Security, we were faced with an ever-growing proliferation of homegrown threats to the United States, while at the same time dealing with risks associated with terrorism and international crime. Knowing that there are never enough resources nor the ability to avert every threat for a single government entity, we began to think about how we could force multiply our efforts to protect the homeland. In the end, we decided to crowdsource threat readiness by enlisting the American people in a nationwide effort to mitigate risk. We launched a campaign, which is now known ubiquitously as See Something, Say Something. I see some heads nodding in the audience, so I know many of you have heard about it and seen the campaign. But just a decade ago, it didn't even exist outside of a small effort in the New York City public transit system. We took it nationwide, and the public responded overwhelmingly. The department receives a significant volume of tips coming from that campaign on a yearly basis, and many times the tips are actionable. Now, while today I no longer have direct knowledge of how many risks are mitigated by see something, say something, I can tell you back when I was at DHS, it was a significant number. So all of this takes me back to cyber and my basic premise. We cannot currently eliminate or deter threats in cyber, but we can mitigate the risk that those threats pose. We can do things that seem simple on their face, but that can be hugely consequential. Having a plan for what to do in attack is one such thing. Exercising proper cyber hygiene with systems, enlisting the public, the private sector, and civil society in general readiness. Teaching the very same audiences the do's and don'ts of basic cyber best practices, and teaching them again and again and again. And having the proper defensive tools in place to repel some sort of attack. All of these things seem simple, almost basic, but they are far too frequently overlooked as a standard by which to deal with risk in cybersecurity. As I said earlier, work to control things that can be controlled while keeping an eye on the things that cannot. See something, say something was not intuitive when it was created, but it is now, and it has worked to make the United States safer. I have always believed we should work to make the things we control to be the best they possibly can be, and that is certainly possible in the world of cyber risk mitigation. And we all have a role to play to keep our communities and our networks safe. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you today to speak to these important issues. And I want to again thank you for inviting me to speak at this important gathering. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Honorable Jenna Napolitano. Thank you for your inspiring speech. 我们再次请掌声给我们的致辞贵宾好吗 ？Thank you so much. Thank you. 紧接着，我们今天非常荣幸的邀请到蔡英文总统亲临2023台湾资安大会，给予资安产业与从业人员最大的鼓励。现在就让我们恭请蔡英文总统上台致辞，恭请蔡总统。Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome our honorable guest, President Tsai Ing-wen, to give us her remarks. Welcome.
我们台湾资安大会主股会创办人吴其勋主席。我们张宏志董事长、柯建明代理处长，还有我们美国前国土安全部部长 Ms. Jenna Napolitano. Thank you very much for your speech. That was truly very, very helpful. And I'm sure people here enjoy your speech a lot. And your speech is a timely reminder of how important cybersecurity is. And you make this very understandable easily for the public here. So thank you very much, and I hope that we can have another opportunity to exchange views with you. Thank you. 我们各界治安界的伙伴、各位贵宾，大家好。
好。
我们今天政府的很多的成员都在现场哈，那我们几乎把我们政府里面负责数位发展、资安的我们的工作同仁都到的现场，这是我参加过很少有这么多政府的部会首长或者副首长参加的一个场合，那也代表了就是说我们的政府对资安的问题的重视。那么台湾资安大会设立9年来，已经成为亚太地区最具指标性的资安盛事。我要再一次的强调，资安就是国安。我连续5年都来参加这场大会，就是代表政府对资安的重视。过去几年，我们积极推动资安及国安的战略，并且进阶到2.0。这当中有一些具体的成果。像是我们完成了资通安全管理法的立法工作，我们也成立了资通安全署， 就在今年的2月，国家资通安全研究院也已经成立了。未来我们会加速培育我们资安研发的人才，强化资通安全的防护力道。那么今年的大会主轴是 Bring Security to， 我们不仅要 Bring Security to Taiwan， 更要 Bring Security to the world。我们会以国家级的资安团队来确保数位国土的安全，而且要深化国际合作，建构国内外的资安联防体系。那么借由这次的大会，数位发展部也邀集了台湾自主技术的资安业者一起建立台湾资安馆。大家从中可以看到台湾产业对于新兴技术和国际趋势的关注，以及对于防范威胁和攻击的因应措施。我们的目标是治安好，台湾的产业才会更好。面对无所不在的治安挑战，我们需要不断的强化应变的能力跟管理的机制。政府会持续的推动国产自主研发治安产品和服务，也会鼓励投资治安新创。我们要协助各行各业提升我们治安防护的韧性，台湾的产业才能更加的蓬勃发展。那么资讯安全需要结合所有人的力量，政府会跟产业、民间专家以及社群携手合作，建立台湾的治安国安队，打造让国际信赖的治安系统以及产业链。最后，我要借这个场合，要感谢各位先进对治安产业的投入和贡献，大家都是政府重要的伙伴，我们一起努力，为台湾治安的发展创造更多的成果，也祝福我们大会的活动圆满顺利。谢谢，谢谢大家。
谢谢，非常谢谢蔡英文总统。我们要恭请呢蔡总统在舞台上稍微留步哦，好，为我们今天呢进行大合照，留下最珍贵的镜头。好，那稍后呢我们也会邀请贵宾一同上台合影。Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for a group photo。好，那等一下呢我们也要请呢我们上台的贵宾不要忘记帮我们取下口罩哦，也请呢我们中间的与会贵宾除了摄影师之外，拍照请不要起立坐着哦。好，接下来呢就让我们欢迎总统府林佳龙秘书长上台，以及 AIT 代理处长柯杰明代理处长 Mr. Jeremy Crawford， Welcome， 国安会傅立雄秘书长，欢迎 Honorable Janice Napolitano，Welcome， 行政院郑文灿副院长，欢迎 IT Home 詹宏志发行人，欢迎国科会吴正中主委，欢迎总统府张敦涵副秘书长，欢迎国安会李汉明咨询委员，欢迎数位发展部唐凤副长，欢迎 IT Home 吴组会社长，欢迎以及经济部的王美花部长，欢迎。那我们先热情掌声给我们台上所有的贵宾好吗？好，那接下来呢，我们要请台上所有的贵宾帮我们台。To welcome President Tsai. Welcome， 欢迎蔡总统莅临2023台湾治安大会的现场，现场所有朋友给一个热情的掌声。 2023台湾资安大会现在正式开始。